Good morning. As we go to the Chitas of today, we're holding new Parsha, Parsha's Vayeshev. Vayeshev Yaakov Be'eretz Meguri Aviv, and Yaakov dwelt in the land of his father's dwelling, Be'eretz Canaan, in the land of Canaan. Rashi says, after the scripture describes Esau's settlements and his generations, briefly, because they were not distinguished nor important enough to elaborate on the details of how they settled in all of the ways, or how they drove out the Hurrites, etc. Now the Torah goes back to Yaakov. So actually, last week the Torah goes all the way till all the kings of Edom until Shaul HaMelech, and he mentions them all the kings. So he knocks off all the generations from Esau until later on, hundreds of years later, 1,000 years later. And now he goes back to Yaakov. He goes back to Yaakov since it's important. And so we start with Yaakov again, and we go through the whole story of how they went to Yaakov and they went to Mitzrayim, etc. Because similarly, we find regarding 10 generations between Adam and Noach. So begets so, etc., etc. And we reach Noach. Torah goes at length, and likewise the 10 generations of Noach to Avram Avinu, it goes again briefly, and then it reaches Avram, it goes at length. This can be to a pearl that falls into a sand. Person searches the sand, he sits away with a sieve until he finds the pearl. Once he finds the pearl, he casts away the pebbles from his hand, and he keeps the pearl. Another explanation, Ashi says, Yaakov was like a Jacob dwelt, the camels and the flax dealer once entered a town laden with flax. The blacksmiths wondered, where will all this flax go? One clever fellow answered him, one spark will come out from the bellows, when your bellows, which will burn all the flax. So did Jacob when he saw all the chieftains of Esau mentioned. He wondered, how can he conquer all of them? What's written below, this is the generation of Yaakov, Esau. Only, and it's written, the house of Yaakov will be a fire. The house of Yosef is a flame, and the house of Esau is stubble. One spark emerges from Joseph and destroy and consume them all. And that's why the Torah goes as follows. Yaakov. These are the generation of Yaakov, Yosef. Yosef ben Shva Eser Shana, Yosef at that time was 17 years old. He was a shepherd. He was being a shepherd. He was with his brothers with the flock. And he was a son. He was a nod. He was a lad. Bnei Bila and was with the sons of Bila and the sons of Zilpah. The Shei Aviv were the wives of his father. Yosef is the Basim Ra Elavim. And Yosef brought evil talk to his father. Rashi says, and those are the generation of Yaakov. These are the settlements and their wanderings until they came to settle. The first course of their wandering, when Yosef was 17 years old. Those events have unfolded. They wandered and descended to Egypt. This is according to the plain explanation of the verse, putting everything in a proper perspective. The Medrash Haggadah interprets the passage as follows. Scripture based the generation of Yaakov and Yosef. Why? He had other children. Because many things, one thing that the entire being Yaakov served love and were only Rachel. And Rachel had Yosef. In addition, Yosef features resembled Yaakov's. They look like one another. Whatever happened to Yaakov happened to Yosef. We see that Yaakov was hated and Yosef was hated. This brother Esau wanted to kill him, and so too his brothers wanted to kill Yosef. And likewise, there are many similarities between Yaakov and Yosef, as is brought down in the Medrash. Further expounds upon, follows, dwelt. Yaakov sought to dwell in tranquility. The troubles of Yosef sprang upon him. It's righteous, sweet to dwell in tranquility. Says the Holy One, blessed be He. What is prepared for the righteous in the world to come is not sufficient for them. but they seek to dwell in tranquility in this world. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. You got to get to work. Who not? He behaved childish, fixing his hair and touching up his eyes, so he appeared very handsome. B'nai Bila, that's to say, he frequented with the sons of Bila. Why? Because the other brothers were demeaning them. They were putting them down. So he uplifted them. He hung around them to show them that they were equal as brothers by Yaakov. But the tribe of the sons of Leah were putting down these sons as the bosom ra. Any evil they saw in his brothers, the sons of Leah, he would tell his father. Number one, they ate from a living animal. Avim and Achai, they tore off an animal limb and they ate it against the Torah, one of the 7 laws of law. As they were deemed as sons of any man that called them slaves, they were demeaning. Number 3, they were suspected of illicit sexual relationships. They said they're going out into the field too much and they are playing around. For these 3 tales, he was punished. Report that his brothers ate from the limb of an animal, they slaughtered a kid, they sold him, and they did not eat it alive. For the report that he told about that they were called the brothers slaves, Yosef was sold into slavery. And concerning the illicit relationship, same thing happened to him. Potiphar went after him. Ilbasam, she says, every expression of diba denotes the concept of gossip, slander. Whatever is evil he could tell about them, he told. And this is an expression of lip, of sleeping speak. Yisrael loved Isaac, but Yisrael loved Joseph. Mikol Bana for all his sons. He bends Zekunim Huloi because he is the son of his old age. But also like Sedus Psasim, and he made him a fine woolen coat. Rashi says he was born in his old age. Uncle is rendered he was wise son for him. Zakain means wisdom. Whatever he learned from Shem Ve'eva, he gave over to him. Another explanation, Ziv Akuyan, that they look like, as I mentioned before, Rashi, that Yaakov and Yosef look like his Zikunim comes from the face. They look like one another. Pasim is a term of a woolen garment, like green wool and blue wool, like fine woolen wool coat of Tamar Ammon, fine later. Medrash Agava explains that Pasim is because of his troubles. It was called Pasim because of the troubles that he went through. Potiphar is the pay. Seichlim is the first guys that bought him. The Ishmaelites were the second guy that bought him. And the Midianites were the third guy that bought him. So the Pasim is symbolic to all his troubles that brought him, that brought upon him by his gossip. And his brothers saw that the father loved him. His father loved him for some reason. By Yisno, so that actually brought out a hatred. And they could not speak to him peacefully. Now she says, from what is stated the discredit, we may learn something to their credit. That they did not say one thing with their mouth and think differently with their heart. They were not echa b'peh ve'echa b'lev. Meaning they were not fake people, that when they met somebody, they hugged him and they kissed him and they said, oh, we love you. Meanwhile, they hated him. They were honest. They told him they didn't like him, and they told him we didn't like you. So they were honest. So from the discredit, we at least learned something, that they were honest individuals. They couldn't speak to him. They said, we don't want to speak to you. We don't have nothing to do with you. But Yosef didn't give up on these guys, and he kept on nudging them. Yachlim Yosef Chalaim, and Yosef had a dream. He told his brothers the dream. And they hated even more for his dream. But it's not enough he told in the dream. The dream is one problem. Why are you telling us a dream? We're not interested in talking to you. But Yosef was a guy who interpreted dreams. So not only did you tell him a dream, which you didn't want to talk to him to begin with, they told him the interpretation. No, you have to listen. I know you don't want to listen. I want you to listen. Listen to the dream that I have heard. Behold, we are mining sheaves in the midst of the field. My sheep stood arose. And it stood strong. And your sheep surrounded my sheep. And your sheep, and you bow down to my sheep. So now she says, binding sheaves, tiger renders master are some sheaves, like carrying his sheaves, same found in Mishnah. They stood erect, began with Sava, and remained standing in place. So you're bowing down to me. So his brother said, you're going to reign over us? You're going to govern us? What are you trying to tell us? So they even hated him more. On his dreams, and not on his dreams, all divided on his words. So his evil tales, as Ashi says, we can brought to his father. He had a second dream. He told his brothers. He said, behold, I had a dream. Behold, sun and the moon and 11 stars were bowing to me. Rashi, verse 10. He told his brother, his father, and his brother. And his father rebuked him. What are you talking? What is his dream? Am I your mother? Is I and your mother and your brothers are going to come to bow to you? What are you trying to explain to us? Rashi says, after he told his brothers, he again told his father in their presence. But not only did he tell his brothers, he made sure to tell his brothers in front of his father. Because he was bringing hatred. He said, what are you doing? The Yaakov wanted to show the brothers that he doesn't accept it. So Rashi says, isn't your mother Rachel died already? What are you talking about? Your dream is a false dream. He said your mother's going to come and bow down to you. Your mother's dead. He, Jacob, did not know the matter referred to Bilhah. Because Bilhah became like his mother, or who raised him. Esav, and as the words to him as a mother. Our rabbis are ever derived from here that there's no dream without meaningless components. Jacob, however, intended to make his sons forget about the whole matter. Jacob knew the dream was real. So he just wanted to show his brothers, forget about it. The guy's talking Yiddish. He's just talking Yiddish. The dream is stupid, and it has nothing to do with reality, and there's no reason to get angry on dreams. But they would not envy him. Therefore, he said, will we come? Just as impossible for your mother to come, so is it impossible the whole dream is above us. His brothers envied him. But his father awaited the matter. Ash said he waited and looking forward to expectation of when the fulfillment. Yaakov knew that these dreams is something going to happen. And these dreams are going to come out into reality. So the brothers were envious, but Yaakov understood that his dreams was something real. And that completes the Chumash of today. Go to the Tanya of the day. Today, we come to the last two essays in Kuntres Acher. The Rebbe writes, that's put in the Tanya. Today is the 8th, tomorrow is the 9th, and by then we finish the Tanya. Alter Rebbe is going to talk about a letter that he heard about davening, in the synagogue, in the shuls, the Chabad shuls around the country, and he heard some not good news. In a loy tova shmo shamaiti, I've heard foreboding, and I'm deeply grieved from writes the Alter Rebbe that what I heard. That God's people are preventing ones who yearns for the life and longevity of all brethren from leading the service in their small sanctuary, the synagogue, of our Chassidic brethren, that not allowing the person who leads the service at a measured pace and thus enables his fellow to pray at a length Provide them long with life and longevity. You're not letting Jews. After I said, I've heard that you're not letting certain people daven a little bit longer to daven to be the chazan. And that is very disturbing. As our sages tell us, there are three things that prolong a person's life. And one of them is somebody who prolongs his worship, davens longer. Even if one is extremely blessed with time, who finds it utterly impossible to wait until the congregation responds, called kedusha. In the repetition of that midah by this person who leads the prayer slowly. If he's davening longer and he cannot say kedusha, let him not say kedusha. Let him daven longer. It's better for him to let kedusha baruch hu, that he shouldn't. If he should go the hearing the kedusha and the baruch hu, that they tamper with their lives, the desired life, and hence desire to pray at length. The Torah says, well, after all, exonerated is compelled. Moreover, the reader discharging his obligation, the chazan, he does the job for him even though he didn't hear it. As if he heard it. Didn't hear it to them, just as he had heard it. And this is the hearing for the reader, even without reciting it, is counted precisely as responding. So unlike those other instances of the rest, where the Torah indeed exonerates the individual concerning him, but does not consider him as he performed the omitted act. In this instance, he's considered to have done so for the reader discharges the obligation. That's why you have a shliach tzibur. And when the shliach tzibur says the kedusha, he says it for everybody else. And if a person could not make it because he's in the middle of davening, and he cannot say now he's stuck in the middle of davening, he could not repeat the kedusha, then the chazan says it for him. As we find the Gemara, people in the fields that had to work in the fields. They are considered under duress. They fulfilled the obligation, reciting the Shemona Esrei prayer itself, and not only participate in response to Baruch Kedusha with the reader's repetition. So we see this concept in Gemara. As if he heard it by himself. And this includes Kedusha, Kaddish, 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 and Baruch Hu are included among those obligations which are fulfilled to the reader of the prayer. So if it goes for people that have to work, and they are working in the fields and they cannot daven with the minyan, they have to rush. So the reader is takes them into account. So for surely those that are davening at length, and they're davening because the lengthy davening doesn't give them the chance to be in the davening in the Shemona Esrei with the minyan. This being the case, a person on the rest should not be inconvenience others to seek to prolong their prayers. This is we search out and verify. Even with regard to the early generation of the sages of the Mishnah Gemara, that the Torah study, not prayer, was constant, and their primary service, like to Lassam, it was not their primary service in God was the prayer, was the learning of Torah. So even with them, prolonged prayer was related to life and longevity. Especially today, where we don't have the capacity of learning Torah, like the ways the sages of the past, because we are in difficult times. Make a parnasa. Therefore, the primary service, if we take the two primary service in Torah, is learning Torah or davening. So in the times of the Gemara and the sages of Tanoim, they used to learn Torah and that was their most important service. And the davening was secondary. But today, davening is the most important thing. Prayer is the most important thing. Which Rachai Vital, as Rachai Vital writes in blessed memory, Beitz Chaim, and Eitz Chaim, Pri Eitz Chaim, and a Pri Eitz Chaim. These are teachings of that. So for sure, surely then, it's fitting and proper to devote ourselves utterly to it, to daven with more attention. This prolonged prayer, butters by the disciplines of contemplation, the contemplation of the Torah greatness. The Elis is actual Torah mandate, imperative to those who understand the efficacy, and at least a little profoundly consider meditation. Each person according to his measure to be able to think before davening. Some individual to discuss in Tanya in part 1, chapter 41. A feeling of love and awe will be aroused by a brief effort of meditation, and others by a deeper, longer stretch of meditation and davening. And the order enumerated in the praises of God. Psukkah de Zimra, in what's called Psukkah de Zimra, between Baruch Shama and Ishtabach, the two blessings preceding Shema, and Yotzer and Avasalem, Avasalem, La'odebem Ava Musteres Belev, to waken up, to arouse through this davening, the Ava, the love, Musteres Belev Koiso, which is Latin in the heart of every Jew. Love of the Bechines Gilabas Kalas come out to reveal the Shas Tishma when we say Tishma, that's itself, which follows these two blessings. Zoisi mitzvah avos Hashem, which this is the mitzvah of love of God in the verse. V'hafta Hashem alekecha b'chol levavcha v'geima. Animnis l'sheina, which is called, which is counted. The Shayna B'tayag mitzvahs and reckoned first amongst the 613 commandments. V'shekosov Adama, and the Rama of blessed memory, she may say that Torah v'shosha, which is the root. This is the fundamental of the Torah, and its root and the source of all positive commandments to love God. Concerning these commandments of love of God, the Alter Rebbe states in Tanya, in chapter 4, for he who fulfills them in truth is he who loves God's name. Commandments that you shall love is obligation imposed by the Torah to meditate during prayer in order to arouse one and reveal one's lack of love. And to the emotion of love itself, a commandment is obviously impossible and irrelevant. For if one has it, he has it. And if not, no commandment is going to produce it. Thus, in reply to the question, how is it possible to mandate love? Magen Mish points out, the subject of command is not the love, but the meditation that will certainly lead to one's experience. That's the commandment. If you will meditate, you will love. But you can't command somebody to love. And one considers, hear, O Israel, how the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. One will surely come to love. The key verb, v'ahavta, is thus not understood as a command that you shall love, but actually as an assurance, you will love. If you will contemplate, the Maggid explains it. You can't command somebody to love. No, it's not a command. The command is if you say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, and you meditate on the way God is one with you, you will love. And if you don't love, it's because you haven't meditated on the oneness of God. In regard to this love, Latin, in the heart of all Israel, by birth and nature, there can be no command at all. For it already exists. Every Jew loves God. You don't have to command him even to love God. Because every Jew naturally loves God. Rather, the command is that this latent love be revealed. And moreover, that it be felt not only by the godly soul, but by the animating soul as well, which previously did not harbor it at all. Das Noven, Lenoven, Knuckle, this is apparent to those who understand. Because while this love is concealed, the identity benefit of the Kislavada is still lodged within the divine soul alone. But when it's attained to the state of revelation, the nefesh achinus to the animating soul, azay bizgalas alev, that's revealed in his heart. The chala smoli in the left chamber of his heart. Makai mission nefesh achinus, the abode of the animating soul. So since the soul animates the entire body, person as a whole will be permeated with this love. This is the meaning of the elevation of the sparks mentioned in Eitz Chaim and Pri Eitz Chaim in the reference to prayer. That through prayer, one elevates the sparks of holiness that fell from Toyu, fell in his nefesh Bahamas, in his animal soul. And for this reason, prayer is a primary service in the period just preceding the coming of Mashiach, in order to seek out and elevate the sparks, so on. The Chinas Haskafim, which is the concept of which this may take place either through transformation or subjugation. The nefesh achinus of the soul, the nefesh of the kiss to the divine soul, the noida as it's known. Yadam hu nefesh, because the blood is the soul. The blood is renewed daily through the food and drink that we eat and drink. So by directing his eating and drinking to the holy goals of divine soul, one refines and elevates the sparks found within the food and drink. And the man is affected and improved by his garments and his shelter and so on. So the refinement of sparks, Latin, the physical things, is affected by revealing one's innate love of God during prayer. In our days, prolonged prayer and meditation are thus a necessity. Different was it in the early generations, when this divine souls were a higher order. And the refinement and elevation of the sparks were done instantaneously. That's all they needed to do. As the Gemara says, they would stop their learning, say the Shema, they would daven quickly. So in the previous generations, that they were great divine souls, their souls were prevalent and relevant and revealed. They rectified the will through the learning, and the Shema and the davening was quick. So these prayer alone would suffice to reveal the love to God and brought about the resulting berurim of the sparks. But today, we were not great learners. Today, we don't have the great knowledge, but we still have davening. We still have the prayer. And therefore, it's important for us to pray and meditate on our prayer, to awaken up an ava to the Eibishter, to awaken up a love to the Eibishter, which we all have. It's all Latin within us. It's ava musteres. To awaken up that love and to create a true love of God, not only what's hidden, but revealed love of God, which automatically through this love will rectify our nefesh Bahamas, our animalistic soul, which ultimately rectify the food we eat, which ultimately rectify everything that we acquire in our life, that we love and enjoy, will bring it all connected to the love of God. And this will suffice to those who are discerning, to those who have understanding. That completes the Tanya of the day. Today is the 17th day of the month, which is chapter 83 to 87. Chapter 83 to chapter 87. You do those 5 chapters, you would do the chitas of the day. Wish you all a good day. Invite you all today at 10 o'clock, either at Chabad or on the Zoom number or on Torah Direct, to come and learn some Tanya, continue learning Tanya again. And amid Shem, we'll see you all tomorrow, 8 a.m., when we will finish together the Tanya. We'll complete the entire book of the Tanya tomorrow together. Make sure everybody has a l'chaim, so that we should all say l'chaim together and wish each other for another great year of learning Tanya as we end the Tanya tomorrow. Mitzvah Hashem. Wish you all a good day, like Shavua Tov, and a wonderful week. This week is a special week. It's Kislev. We wish you all have a wonderful and beautiful